Hi everyone, welcome to the Green Virtual Summit 2013. We are here in the world's first commercial rooftop greenhouse. My name is Mohamed Hage, and I'm the founder and president of Lufa Farms. Lufa is an agricultural technology company that designs, builds, and operates commercial rooftop greenhouses. Think of it this way, we grow food where people live, and we grow it in a more sustainable way. By capturing rainwater, recirculating our irrigation water, using no pesticides and herbicides, using half the energy, composting on site, and more importantly, bringing our food direct to consumers the day it's harvested. With our first greenhouse, we feed 2,000 people on a year-round basis, on a regular basis, and we have several other greenhouses in construction right now. Our goal is to turn cities self-sufficient with their food production, and you're about to watch a short TEDx video filmed in March of 2012 that talks about why rooftop agriculture is relevant. Keep the conversation going, and you can reach us at any time at Lufa.com. Thanks.
What I used to eat when I grew up back in Lebanon. I grow food in the city of Montreal on roofs of buildings, believe it or not. And it's something that I'm very, very proud of. It's something that puts a smile on my face every morning. And a while back, I was talking to my aunt in Lebanon, and where I'm originally from. I grew up in Lebanon in a small village that's actually self-sustaining. It's a village that grows its own food, which is hard to find these days. So if the butcher didn't cut a cow that day, we ate vegetables. So there I was talking to my aunt, and I was so excited, and I was telling her how awesome my work is and how we're building greenhouses and feeding people right in the heart of the city. And she looks at me and says, "Sweetie, we've been doing this all of our lives. There's nothing new here." And that got me thinking. It's absolutely true. Nothing about urban agriculture is really revolutionary. It's simply a recreation of something that's very, very old. So then why am I here talking to you today about urban agriculture? Why is it an important topic? Well, because we're not eating what my aunt eats. We're not eating what I used to eat when I grew up back in Lebanon. What we eat today, because we live in cities, comes from very far away. Our food has traveled an average of 1,500 miles to make it to our plate. And food travels as good as a 2-year-old child on a plane. Food travels really, really bad. In fact, food is packed, repacked, refrigerated, sold, and resold many times over. And by the time it makes it to the consumer, it's lost its nutrients, it's lost its taste, texture, and smells. And actually, the really interesting number is, we're talking a lot about reducing waste, is that when a farmer in an industrial farm is looking at a plant of tomato, half of these tomatoes will never make it to the consumer because of this. And the cultivars and the varieties that are chosen in terms of industrial farming are cultivars and varieties that are chosen for their toughness and transportability and not their taste. There used to be a time where we could choose from 500 different tomatoes to grow in a greenhouse, and now what we're eating is a collection of only 12. Roughly 12 cultivars of tomatoes that are all tough, that will yield very well, that are hard as rocks, but don't necessarily have the same taste. And when you look at industrial farming, the process of industrial farming is far from optimal. Industrial farms today are massive consumers of land, of water, of energy, of resources. And what's been really striking for me during my research in hydroponics is that they're very elusive. I spent a good amount of time simply trying to find farms. I actually couldn't find farms, and I ended up concluding that farms are big black boxes. Not only can we not find them, it's actually very hard to even go inside of a farm. The secret process of growing food, it's elusive. 5 years ago, I said to myself, what if you could change the way we grow food? What if you can grow food in a more responsible way? And what if you can create a direct link with the consumer and go straight to the consumer, bypass the entire network, forget about the distribution network, forget about the wholesalers, retailers, and truckers, and go straight to the consumer. And it started off as a bit of a dream. It's something that, I have a lot of dreams, and very few of them actually become projects. But this dream stuck. And with a group of engineers and architects, I like to call them the superheroes, 5 years ago, we started working. And we started working on a new form of agriculture, what we like to call agriculture 2.0. So we started off by asking ourselves, if we want to grow food, how can we grow it in a more responsible way? So we knew that there were a lot of challenges in the food production process, and we knew that we had to change the way we grew food. So we define responsible agricultures in 4 different ways. First of all, using no new land. I think that the previous presenter did a great job at explaining the challenges we have today as we go from 7 billion to 9 billion and with less land. So the good news, it turns out that rooftop spaces are absolutely fantastic for growing food. Someone might look at a roof and think of it as the underwear of a building. It's an ignored space, it's a heat island, it needs maintenance, we have to go up there every now and then and clean it, but no one likes roofs, they're the underwear. But it turns out that underwear is an incredibly fertile space. In this specific building that you see behind me here, we receive over $500,000 in free energy every single year, simply from the sun. Not to mention that we receive half of our heating energy from the building below. And what's great about being in the city is the carbon dioxide levels are higher, something else that plants need. So responsible agriculture is starting off by using no land and using water, a scarce resource, in a more responsible way. So harvesting rainwater, and more importantly, recirculating nutrient water, nutrient-rich water. And again, I think the previous presenter explained the importance and the link between blue algae and phosphor-rich water leaching into lakes and rivers. So by having a closed-loop system, not only are we growing in a more responsible way, but we're actually saving a lot of money. Responsible agriculture means using no synthetic pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides. And you can actually do this because we've been doing it for many, many years prior to the Green Revolution. It works really well. And it's simply by using biocontrols, insects. So we have good insects in the greenhouse, like ladybugs, that actually attack bad insects, such as aphids or whiteflies. And every now and then we see them having sex. They love the conditions in the greenhouse for some reason. And finally, responsible agriculture means growing good food, selecting cultivars and varieties for their taste, for their nutrition, for their smell and texture. Heirloom tomatoes, purple basils, white cucumbers, wild Persian cresses. The possibilities are limitless. What we can grow in a greenhouse, what we can feed you guys is unbelievable. But what we find in the grocery store is only the subset that will transport very, very well. So after defining responsible agriculture, in September 2010, we started working. And I'm going to walk you through a few slides that show you the process of construction. What you don't see in here is the 4 years of technology development that went prior to construction. We had to develop our own proprietary, our own patent-pending water recirculation systems, polyculture growing systems that allow us to grow multi-crops in the same greenhouse, still achieving the same yields as a monoculture grower. We developed water recirculation techniques and microclimate management software. So our entire greenhouses are managed by a piece of software. But real quick, I'll walk you through a typical construction. We take an existing roof, we keep the existing membrane, we erect a structure made out of steel, galvanized steel, aluminum, and glass, and this process goes quite fast. Believe it or not, we got the structure up in less than 3 weeks, and you can see we used some cranes to bring the material up to the roof, and in this case, it was a 2-story building. And this is a picture, it's a bit of an inside, it shows you a bit the inside of the greenhouse, just prior to planting. And you can see actually our energy curtains, another feature that helps save energy. We deploy it during the nighttime, and it envelopes the greenhouse, the plants. And the temperature above our energy curtain could be minus 10 degrees Celsius, where it's below the energy curtain is a 22 23 degrees Celsius climate. After the construction process, and on February 28, 2011, we planted the first seeds of the first plants in the world's first commercial rooftop greenhouse. And it's something that we're very proud of. It's something that really, I remember the team really celebrated that day, and we popped a lot of champagne bottles, and they were not local. They were the good kind. And just 2 months after that very first day, my niece, Maya, at 8 months old, had her first solid food. And it was one of our tomatoes, a cherry tomato grown in Montreal. And she loves our tomatoes. And this is something that brings me most joy, seeing kids going through vegetables like they're candy. And today, almost a year later, we feed 2,000 people with vegetables that are harvested the exact same day that have never seen the inside of a fridge. Vegetables harvested in the heart of the city on a rooftop using half the energy to heat the building and a fraction of the water and nutrients. And because of the direct link with our consumers, we distribute our food to drop points. and drop points are universities, coffee shops all over the island, but the process is so efficient that we only need $15 in fuel per day to feed 2,000 people. And what's been actually a huge surprise to us is seeing how this little farm in Montreal was able to connect the community. Early on, when we started construction, people would stop by and would ask us if they could visit. We had requests from universities, from schools, from synagogues, from churches, all wanting to visit a farm. And it was really great to see how, to date, we've had over 10,000 visitors to the greenhouse, 10,000 people that now understand where food comes from, 10,000 people that have met a farmer, that really, kids that have seen how a tomato plant grows, how a cucumber should taste like. And that's something that's been a big surprise to us, but it's been I'm ecstatic to see that. And another great moment for me is walking into one of our drop points between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. and seeing 30, 40 customers rushing to grab their vegetable baskets, but taking the time to exchange recipes, phone numbers, veggies, and to truly connect. So I'm going to leave you with a few images. I think everybody likes images. Believe it or not, the first is actually a picture of the land that used to exist where we have built our greenhouse 40 years ago. So 40 years ago, prior to the construction of the industrial building, there used to be a farm, and a farmer used to work here feeding people. For 37 years, that spot was replaced by an industrial building that contributed to heat islands and displaced the farmer. The good news is this spot is once again a fertile plot of land, employing many and feeding many, many more, and helping make our world a better place. So imagine cities that feed their own inhabitants. Imagine communities that are connected by farms. Imagine knowing your farmer and knowing your food. When we celebrated our first anniversary at Lufa, what we chose to celebrate was not the beginning of the construction. It wasn't the end of the construction. It was the day we had the first seeds planted. Because I remember very well that day, our carbon dioxide levels started dropping, and our humidity levels started rising just as the plants made it into the greenhouse. That was the first beat, the first sign of life. Now imagine cities full of life. Merci.
Hi, my name is Ben Flanner. I'm the CEO and head farmer at Brooklyn Grange, a rooftop farming operation in New York City. I'm here to tell you all about our business and the many things that we do. It's been quite an adventure since 2010 when we started our first farm on a roof, and we've sold a lot of vegetables since then. We've learned a lot about growing the best vegetables possible in New York City and how to sell them in New York City. So I hope you enjoy, and thank you very much. Growing Food on New York City Roofs by Ben Flanner, the head farmer and CEO of Brooklyn Grange. Here's a quick overview of Brooklyn Grange Farm. We have two farms totaling 108,000 square feet in Brooklyn and Queens. Both farms are green roofs. We grow and sell vegetables, we keep bees for honey, and chickens for eggs. Our first farm of the two was installed in May of 2010, and we just finished our third season. It is 1 acre, and it's on top of a 6-story building in Long Island City, Queens. Our second farm is in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. It was installed just this past spring in May 2012, and it's 1.5 acres or 65,000 square feet on top of an 11-story building. I'll tell you a bit more about them on the next pages. Here's a look at our farm in Long Island City. This is the farm that's 1 acre, and you can see a green roof covers the entire space. We do have a fair number of bulkheads and obstacles which we work around and we just farm right up against. Here's the second farm. You can see it pre-farm. It was a white TPO membrane, and then after we covered it and we lined it up with rows and beds and planted vegetables across the whole space. That was just this spring that we started that farm, spring of 2012. So what is a green roof? I know we're at a green roof conference, so let's move quickly through this, but it's simply a covering of vegetation in a growing medium planted over the waterproofing membrane. As a rooftop farm, we incorporate all of the traditional benefits of green roofs, including stormwater capture, insulation to the building, and extending the lifespan of the waterproof membrane. And we've taken the typical or traditional system and expanded it. We've created a deeper system, added more nutrient to the soil, and created a commercial farming operation so we can actually occupy the green roof with a commercial tenant. Here's a look at the green business benefits of rooftop farming. Our primary objective is income, to pay our farmers, cover our costs as we grow and sell vegetables. Our proximity to the customer shrinks our supply chain and the associated costs with sales and distribution. And then related to that, our short time to the market leads to a high quality flavor and a super healthy produce. In terms of the environment, this is also related to a very much reduced fossil fuel consumption. We are not transporting our vegetables great distances and therefore consuming much less fuel as we distribute them. Then we have stormwater mitigation, insulation of the building, energy reductions, which were discussed on the previous slide. And then lastly, composting. We divert tens of thousands of pounds of vegetable scrap and organics that would otherwise go into the garbage system and end up being trucked hundreds of miles away and put into a landfill. In terms of the community and social benefits, this really revolves around education. We have apprentice programs, internships, etc., where we teach young people how to farm. And then with even younger people, children, we launched a nonprofit. We have thousands of kids up to the farm every summer, and we have education, curriculum. We teach them about where their food comes from, how to cook it, how to prepare it, and how to make decisions in terms of what you put into your body. And this has billions of dollars of healthcare ramifications for our system over the next generation or two. It's really important that people make wise decisions in terms of what they eat, and that is a big problem and a big issue right now in New York City. Here's our team. There's myself, Gwen, Anastasia, Chase, and Michael. It's really important to have a nice variety of skills and backgrounds. We all work really hard. We all have to wear so many different hats as entrepreneurs, as New York City, and also farmers. So we're all doing like many different things, and we're all staying really busy, and it's just so invaluable to have a great group of positive and creative people. The crops that we grow. We grow tomatoes as a specialty. All of our different heirloom tomatoes are a big hit with our customers. They taste great. They're super fresh. We vine ripen them so we can pick them when they're ripe and get them straight to the people. Also, salad greens are kind of our forte. We grow lots and lots of salad mixes, and that's definitely the favorite with restaurants. In addition, we have great luck with peppers and eggplants, kale, rainbow chard, spinach, different herbs like parsley and basil, and then turnips, radishes, carrots, things of that sort, squash, cucumbers, almost everything that you'd imagine in the vegetable world we're growing, at least in some quantity. And a quick look at our revenue streams, big question that's asked all the time. Number one is our wholesale. It's our deliveries to retailers and restaurants, particularly restaurants. Markets, we have 3 to 4 farmers markets per week, and especially in peak season. And then we also have a CSA system, and we're expanding that. That's where people prepay in the spring, and then we deliver a weekly bag or box throughout the rest of the season. We also sell our honey. And then lastly, tours and events and consulting and special projects. We built a table, so we have sunset dinners. People can rent out the space for an evening, farm to table, taking it to the utmost level. We work with some caterers and so forth, and we feed a fair amount of people right up on the roof. Milestones. We are a young business, but we've had a lot going on, particularly awards. The first year that we started the farm, we received the Long Island City Business Development Corporation's Green Business Award, which was a great honor. In 2011, last year, we received the Most Innovative Green Roof Award by the industry group Greenroofs for Healthy Cities. And then last year in 2012, we received the Mayor's Community Business Award. A great honor to go to Gracie Mansion, where the mayor spends some time and receive award acknowledging our hard work with the community. And in 2012 also, we launched our second roof, the 65,000 square foot green roof in the Brooklyn Navy Yard. 2013, let's see what's coming. As to the future, we're always looking forward. We plan to continue to expand to new roofs. There are many, many roofs around Brooklyn and Queens and Manhattan that have strong, flat, large surface areas, full sun, perfect for green roofs and perfect for growing vegetables. Crop optimization, we're always tweaking our crops, specializing them, coming up with the perfect growing patterns. Special projects, installing green roof farms for third parties. We did one really successful one this past spring, and we have many others that we're talking with people and discussing ideas, etc. We're always expanding our apiary. Honey production is very valuable. It's also extremely high. There's an extremely high demand for it in New York City, and it has a good yield for the space that it occupies and the amount of capital that we put into our beehives. As well, we're testing an indoor mushroom cultivation project. You see a small picture of it there. I have another one coming up. We're trying to experiment with our ability to put together a business case around indoor mushroom production. And then also increasing our added value production, which means sauces, jars, shelf-stable goods, etc. The next section shows farm layouts, green roof details, and installation. Here's an aerial from Google Maps of the farm. You got a taste of it from the other picture that I showed earlier, but the story here is that it's efficiently laid out, and that the beds run parallel, and that they fill up the entire space. And the installation of the farm number 1 was done with a crane. We craned up 2 cubic yard super sacks, dumped the soil into these large buggies, and then transported them the long way across the farm to distribute the soil evenly. And a look at the green roof details from farm number 1. We used the OptiGreen German technology. The base at the bottom of the graphic is the root barrier. Above that is the protection mat or geotextile felt, drainage plates, filter fabric, and then the soil above that. And on our second farm we used a blower truck. The big difference between the blower truck and the crane is that the truck is a little bit more stable. There's less permitting, a little bit less stress involved. However, it does run a little bit slower in terms of cubic yards per unit of time. Looking at the diagram of the system here, we did not use the plastic layers of the drainage plate, but instead the aggregate. So at the base in the lower right is the geotextile, which was laid right on top of the TPO. 2 inches of porous stone, next a layer of the filter fabric, and then finally the soil on the top. Next section is composting, mulching, and soil nutrient maintenance. As I mentioned, we do lots of composting. You can see orange peels in there. We receive many different inputs from different small businesses around the town, or around the city I should say. We combine them all with wood chip and wood shavings and create an excellent nutrient. We also collect horse manure. You see Matt spreading that from the local police stables. They're happy to get rid of it. We'll take it. Works out great. And finally, cover crops, a very valuable source of nutrient. We grow these we plant them in the late summer and the fall below our tomatoes. This is an example of clover, nice nitrogen fixer. We'll till that into the soil in the spring, and that's our natural fertilizer. And then there's me spraying fish emulsion, not pesticides, across the farm, a natural nutrient amendment. Here's our chickens. We have 10 ladies, 1 rooster, and they're great egg layers. They're called Sussexes. We got them in Long Island. Next is a small section on our farm stands and crops. Here's a look at one of our farm stands late in the summer. You see it's past tomato season, so you don't see a lot of peppers, eggplants, and tomatoes. But a big focus of our salad mix is beautiful radishes, some roaster carrots, rainbow chard, salsa or hot sauce, honey, flowers, etc. Next is kind of 2 fun things that we grow. Lufa sponge. It does not come from the ocean. You can grow it. Grows like a cucumber. And sunchokes or Jerusalem artichokes are the little red things. Some nice beautiful greens mix in a case. And a cool eggplant called fairy tale eggplants. Beautiful, delicious, small, tender eggplant. Sweet sun gold tomatoes. Taste like candy. Greens mix on the shelf at a local retailer called the Brooklyn Kitchen. And finally, a small hint of our indoor mushroom cultivation, and hopefully that little guy spent some money at our farm stand. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. Again, my name is Ben Flanner, the head farmer, CEO of Brooklyn Grange, www.brooklyngrangefarm.com, and my email is ben@brooklyngrangefarm.com.
Hi, and welcome to Greenroofs.com and the virtual summit. Thank you for joining me. My name is George Irwin from Green Living Technology. Some of you may know me as the Green Wall editor. The food factory impacts many different sectors, but most importantly, it impacts economics, it impacts community, impacts education. And within those sectors alone, you have graduation rates and academic performance. You have job creation. You also have living wage opportunities versus minimum wage. And then you also have community relations. You know, in a lot of different cultures, people come together because of food. Now, the food factory, even though it is designed for high production, it's also designed as a classroom. It's designed to impact these three sectors that we just mentioned. It's designed to employ people. It's designed to be used as an R&D facility. It's much more than just a large indoor farm.
I want to revisit the 2012 video real quick and give you an opportunity to get reacquainted with FoodLink. And what better person to be able to do that than Tom Ferrara himself.
FoodLink's the regional food bank serving central, western, upstate New York, the Finger Lakes and the Genesee Valley. I started back in the late 70s, picking up Thomas's English muffins, and quickly got in over my head, and today we are up to some 12 million pounds of food that we distribute. Our largest donor is Wegmans, over half the food. We handle all of Wegmans' damage.
These same technologies, even in smaller configurations, are being used in other organizations like Meals on Wheels as part of an elderly program. They're also being implemented as part of the VA hospital rehabilitation programs. Not only are these food factories and these configurations conducive to warehouses and larger scale box-like facilities, but they're located in areas where people need them the most. Urban environments. You know, our biggest success stories with a very good friend of mine, Stephen Ritz, in the Bronx, where we've actually taken 4 years of a pilot program and produced 100% graduation rates 4 years in a row. Okay, we've had 100% passing on the New York State Regents 4 years in a row. To this day, some of those students actually have gone on to college. Some of them are still working for us on and off part-time. However, most importantly, and my friend Steve says it the best, is we don't just grow tomatoes, but we're growing citizens.
I started growing food in these walls as far back as 2004, 2005. But it wasn't really until 2008 when we implemented the first larger scale food production, which was roughly 710, 720 square feet in downtown Los Angeles in a few different locations, including the Los Angeles Food Bank. The next phase in conceptual design was in collaboration with Michael and Angela Bucci from Philly Greenwall and M&B Constructs. We put together a presentation for Masdar City in the Middle East, and it was pretty simple. It was things that we were doing now, except we wanted to implement them on a large scale. So as we go through the different levels or different floors of the food factory, what you're looking at is you saw fish and you saw chickens, but we also now have our A-frames, which allow us to triple the amount of space that we can actually grow into. Then we incorporate LED lighting, and then on the roof obviously we have our green roof and solar panels. And then finally the building itself is fitted with geothermal, so we have the ability to totally control the interior environment. Moving away from the fantasy buildings of Dubai, coming back home, these are renditions by Michael and Angela Bucci from Philly Greenwall again, who concept the reuse of buildings so that it becomes part of the community. We have farmers markets, we have places to go get coffee in the morning. At the same time, you can go upstairs, pick your food, and pay for it on the way out. We've also utilized the ability to maximize the space on these buildings. You can see the concept of implementing catwalk systems on the outside of the building, and this is a reality that we've implemented to show the progress of our visions. And again, I have to give all the credit to Michael and Angela Bucci. Without them, none of these concepts or implementations would have came to fruition. And to round out the food factory implementation, we obviously are going to take advantage of the rooftop. So here we have a rooftop farm in Philadelphia, again courtesy of Philly Greenwall and Michael and Angela Bucci. One of my favorites is actually the watermelon patch that we have in the corner. Here we are on a quick visit to the roof farm in Philadelphia.
Just cut the stem off. Just pull it. Pull it. Atta girl. Let me see. Hold it up. That's awesome, Mike. That's literally just picked not 30 seconds ago. Holy cow. All right, I'll be the first one to have to dig into this. And you're right, it's been on the roof, so it's still warm.
Yeah, we should have sooner. See, George, we need
Oh my
to
God.
come here and kick our butts a little bit.
Oh my God.
I mean, we've been at their house all summer. Is it good?
Oh my God. Yep.
So it's pretty impressive when even the smallest of space can produce an abundance of food. But remember, this is part of a bigger, larger scale vision of the food factory. And that really includes just maximizing both the interior and the exterior of an existing building. Okay, back to our work with FoodLink in the food factory in downtown Rochester. I love looking out the window because one of the things that I see is an old Sears tower, and it reminds me of the days of hustle and bustle and when manufacturing was king. And really, that's what our country was built on. Now, as we start to go into a more advanced phase of the food factory, we're now taking advantage of also the rooftop, not just for agriculture and growing food, but it's also the first rooftop aviary in Rochester, New York. In 2008, we really started to introduce the education piece towards not just installing green roofs and green walls, but also teaching about food and where food comes from and providing different opportunities. And my relationship with FoodLink and Tom Farrar has really opened my eyes to creating a workforce development program and continuing with the education piece. Tom has said it time and time again that we can't keep feeding these people who need help. We need to provide them other resources and other means. So the food factory not only produces food, it provides opportunities for all people, not just people in need. One of the things I don't want to get caught up on is the size of this food factory. Most of our food was actually produced in our backyards during the Victory Gardens in World War II. So we can improve our yields, and we can really implement small scale opportunities. It doesn't always have to be this incredibly huge factory. Again, my conversations with Tom when we first implemented this food factory in Rochester was, okay, let's keep it small. And we found that we're glad we did, because it actually provided us much more concrete data. It allowed us more learning experiences. But needless to say, we've had opportunities in Hawaii with people like Greg Lee from First Look Exteriors, Los Angeles, New York City, obviously with Stephen Ritz. We also have Boston with Janice Goodman from Cityscapes, and Trevor Smith from Landscapes. Michael and Angela Bucci from Philly Greenwall. Then there's David Smiles from Cityscapes Tampa Bay. And obviously, let's not forget FoodLink and Rochester, New York. So the food factory has been implemented on smaller scales in various markets by various people. So it's clearly duplicatable. We can expand on it. One of the things that we've really avoided was jumping in head first to this huge 10 or 20,000 square foot facility. We've taken the time to step back, do it on a small scale, and be extremely productive. not only can we control the productivity, but we can also control the environment on a much smaller scale. And it also gives us a chance to make sure that we're continuing, the core values of the food factory and Green Living Technologies International in general. It's to include community, to make it an economic stimulus, also to include education, and obviously the environment. We've also become better understanding of growing indoors. That's an entirely different skill set. You have other factors to contend with. Outside you have sun and rain and insects. Indoors you have humidity and pathogens and pollination issues. The small scale has also allowed us to avoid commercial types of applications like adding CO2 and forced growing and heavy fertilizers and fungicides, because at that level it's all about production. Production means money. In this case, that wasn't the goal. The goal was to say, hey, we can take a building without these types of additional commercial means and produce food, provide that education, make it a classroom, and make it more than just about the large-scale production. Some of this video coming up is probably some of the most inspirational and really touches home on, really what some of the goals were of the food factory besides food production.
Unscrew it. There you go. Perfect.
This is from GLT, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, hold it up and clean it off. Clean it off. No, just clean it on the floor. It's okay. No, hold it up so we can see.
You don't like getting dirty even though you're
I know. Now hold it up so people at home could see how the leaves actually grow up towards the sun and towards the lighting.
Okay. This is actually the beans.
All right, so you can see the roots, how the roots grew into the wall, and you have this beautiful vegetation that actually came out and it grew straight up. So what do you think about? You like beets?
Beet? I love beet from now on. I love it, feel me? It's
all right.
Organic, there's nothing else.
Okay, so nice and now put that in the bag.
Where's the bag at?
Right there,
okay.
Right there on the floor.
Now, what we want to do, we want to harvest the beets that are ready to grow, that are ready to come out of the wall.
One right there on the top?
That's right. This one, we got some up there. Now, this is from the first crop. Look at that. Just twist it. Unscrew it. Unscrew it out. There you go. Unscrew it out of the wall. Perfect. That's it. Just unscrew it. Nice. All right, hold it up. How cool is that? Nicely done. All right, put it in the bag.
Here's the bag with all the beets inside.
All right, Jonathan, unscrew it just like you go like you're taking a screw out of the wall. Don't pull. Unscrew. Keep screwing. Keep screwing. There you go.
Hold on. What is the flower?
Nice.
People eat the flowers?
Yeah. Sometimes people just eat the leaves.
Why?
Well, in part of the leafy greens.
Someone.
Yeah, hold the back. I'm about to get that one.
Let me see, John. You got a double. That's right. Jonathan got a double. Let me see
twin.
that.
That's twin. Twin babies. Yeah. You got twins.
What else we got? Go ahead.
Right.
Look at that. You got another one in there too. Now, what we'll do, guys, listen to me. Now, what's great about this system, okay, is we can package this right for market right now. It doesn't have to be processed. So what we're going to do is we're going to clean this up. Let's take off all the dead leaves and make it look nice for market right here. Clean off all this dirt. And guess what? This is exactly how we're going to package it, so that when it goes into the package, it literally goes from right here to the market or to the restaurant. Okay? So there's very little downtime to any of the food that we're producing here at the food factory.
That's really cool. That's really cool.
So now we don't have to harvest it, put it on a truck, send it to a processor, process it, and then send it back to the restaurant. Now we're picking it, we're processing it right here at the food factory, and then we're sending it right to the consumer. You see what we've done here? We've removed some beets. Now what we're going to do is replant this with a seed for every beet that we harvested.
Yep.
Okay? Now, you see these leaves here?
Yeah.
These leaves are harvestable for salads. So if you pinch this off, you can actually eat that. It's extremely tasty. Go ahead, taste it.
Nah, I'm not.
Go ahead, taste it. It's beautiful. Go ahead. Okay, it's clean. Nothing's ever been sprayed on it. That's nice. All right, let's go. Move on down. It's really tasty.
Yeah, it tastes good. I mean, you can eat. I mean, you can actually put that in salad.
Well, that's part. Yeah, you do. You put it in salad.
The dirt gives it its flavor.
Just eat it. Just taste it. It tastes like salad.
It's salty though.
Wait,
all right, now Jonathan, you're eating a leaf that's a little bit more mature. Well, that's not the leaf that we want to harvest for salad. We want these nice tender leaves. Try one of these little tender leaves, Jonathan.
No, you just like oil inside, and yeah, it's just good. The aftertaste make it good, no, like just right.
You see, it's much better.
What's the difference between this one?
It's a little bitter.
Yeah. Because this one tastes greener than that one. Like it's like, yeah. I don't know.
Maybe you can mix it with your beans. Yeah. Okay, let's go back on this side. Let's see if we have any more that are ready.
So this is how we do in Rochester, in a food factory, coming out of an abandoned building with locally grown, locally harvested fresh food. The borough that gave us baggy pants and funky fresh beets will now be home to organically grown red ones. Si se puede!
Green Bros machine!
So clearly you can't take the kid out of the student. You know, we really appreciate Steve and his efforts, and you know, some of the things we've been able to collaborate on. But you know, the real message here is you know, we've watched these young men in this video going from their freshman year to graduates, and you know, to see them in college at this point in time is an incredible feat. You know, so even though we're really trying to, you know, grow food, the food is simply the byproduct. The food factory, you know, is a much bigger entity. Okay, so what's next? We know that a small-scale food factory can produce food. We know it's a very effective educational and community model, but we have to continue to build on the model to make it economically sound and provide the jobs that we intend to create. So the next phase of the model of the food factory is actually moving to Tampa, Florida, with good friend Farmer Dave from Uriah's Urban Farms. Dave's been involved in numerous large-scale CEAs, or controlled environment agricultural projects, over the last 15 years. The urban food system model is going to be implemented in collaboration with a program called Grow Up Tampa Bay, which involves the University of Tampa. It involves Uriah's Urban Farms and the Roosevelt 2.0, which is a grassroots nonprofit organization with a mission to nurture and create a sustainable local community in the Tampa Bay area.
I'd like to send a very special thank you to Linda and Aramis for inviting me and allowing me to have a forum to teach our technologies as the Green Wall editor. So make sure you read some of my archives.
Before I go, I just want to provide one more incredible thank you to FoodLink and Tom Ferraro for this relationship and our partnership in the food factory. We're really looking forward to developing the economic model. And last but not least, Fred Serafini, thank you very much. Without you, really none of this would actually get done. Enjoy the next few slides, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome to Uncommon Ground, a farm-to-table restaurant on the north side of Chicago with the first certified organic rooftop farm in the country. We found this 4,000 square foot building in 2007, and after seeing the expansive full sun roof space, decided to utilize it to grow food for the restaurant. Heirloom tomatoes were the primary inspiration for this great adventure. In order to manage the weight of the farm on the roof, the building had to be modified from the ground up. We had to dig down 5 feet and reinforce all the bearing walls, replace wood support beams with steel, and reinforce the parapet walls to hold the steel for the floating deck. The steel beams are supported by the bearing walls and parapets and hold the frame for our deck, which is made from recycled plastic and wood fiber. Years later, the deck has held up well and was a great choice as it does not require any chemicals to maintain or clean it. We included solar thermal panels in our project to assist in heating the water for the restaurant. These 5 panels produce 10% of our overall energy needs and save the restaurant approximately $8,000 yearly. They paid themselves off in roughly 3.5 years. Building a solid stairway provides easy and safe access to the roof for staff and guests. It is especially nice to have plenty of room to maneuver large loads of soil, compost, and plants. The farm was designed using the principles of square-foot gardening. We installed a series of steel-framed cedar perimeter planter beds, as well as 10 larger 4x10 boxes that each have vertical growth capacity. We also installed an irrigation system for all of these planter beds that breaks down into 4 separate watering zones. During 2 volunteer sessions, 40 Friends of Uncommon Ground carried up to 6 tons of organic soil for the planter beds. In order to maintain our fertility and our high production model, we must add large sums of fresh organic compost every spring to re-inoculate our soil and provide our plants with all the nutrients they need to stay healthy and supply us with super tasty and nutritious food throughout the growing season. Today, our farm is thriving. We are constantly experimenting and revising our methods to produce as much high-value crops for the restaurants as we possibly can. In 2012, we exceeded 1,000 pounds of food from our 0.015-acre farm. In 2008, we decided to certify with the Midwest Organic Services Association. Since our inputs were all certified organic and we have no neighboring farms to consider, our process was fairly simple. We did this to understand how we can maintain a high level of integrity in our sustainable food growing system and to learn firsthand what our farmers face in their production systems. In addition to our traditional raised bed planters, we also have numerous earth boxes on our rooftop farm. They are sub-irrigated planter systems that make efficient use of water and amendments. They produce high yields, are portable, minimize weeds, and it is very easy to change the soil as needed. The main advantage of growing food on the roof is the excellent product we produce for our customers to enjoy immediately after harvest. This provides the height of flavor, texture, and nutrition. Also, we do not have to worry about flooding and pests such as rabbits and deer. We are able to grow items that are unusual and difficult to find with a non-existent carbon footprint and foster a deep connection with our community in this process. Once the structural viability, water access, and passage to the roof have been managed, the main challenges of rooftop farming are keeping the soil fertile, managing wind and temperature variances. We keep beehives on our roof for pollination, honey harvests, and the need to educate about the plight of bees and the importance of their care. Bees pollinate roughly 40% of our food resources. Issues we have encountered with our bees include swarming, varroa mites, and hive loss due to harsh winters and excessive heat. To round out our farm program and maintain year-round employment for our farm director and assistant, we use our basement grow room to start plants for the summer, grow specialty sprouts and microgreens, and have recently began cultivating mushrooms. In 2012, as in all prior years, tomatoes were our top crop by weight and value, and this was fully our intention. Heirloom tomatoes are a special summer treat, and we love to focus our menus on them because our customers really enjoy the variety of items that our chefs can prepare with them. Radishes, lettuce varieties, greens, beans, beets, and carrots brought a stream of produce into the kitchen throughout the spring, summer, and fall growing seasons. Sprouts help us keep production going through the cold winter months. We had a bumper crop of currants that we harvested from our ground level beds that produced some fruit into the mix. It is our intention to learn how to operate our farm in a cost-effective manner. As a result, we study the value of the crops we raise, and we will continue to plan our farm in a way that focuses our attention on growing the items that offset the greatest expense. Organic tomatoes, sprouts, mini and microgreens, and herbs have high price tags in restaurant kitchens, and there are many rare, unusual items that we can grow that no other kitchen may have at their disposal. These are the items that we will focus on in the 2013 farm plan. Also, there are crops that can be grown quickly and turned over repeatedly throughout the season, such as leaf lettuce, radishes, arugula, kale, and mustard greens that will add more value to our harvests. When we compare our harvests in 2010, 11, and 12, the 2012 harvest really stands out because of the remarkable amount of food that we were able to harvest so early in the season. This was due to two main factors: a hoop that was built over 4 of our planter beds in late 2011, in which lettuce, kale, mustard greens, and spinach were able to grow slowly over the winter without freezing, and a very early warm spell in which we planted a variety of cold-hardy crops that flourished in the mild spring weather and produced heavily through June. The peak in this chart depicts our garlic and shallot harvest from our ground-level raised bed. Due to the unseasonably warm weather, this harvest occurred almost 1 month prior to that same harvest in 2011. This picture was taken on March 13th after removing the plastic over the hoops because it became too warm inside. 3 days later, we harvested 5 pounds of greens, which provided the restaurant with approximately 40 springtime rooftop salads that sold out within 2 hours. Patrons were delighted to share in this early delight of fresh, crispy greens. Every fall, Uncommon Ground hosts a slow food dinner. In 2012, we decided to make this a vegetarian affair, which included a wide variety of produce from our own farm. Items we supplied included tomatoes, beets, pole and bush beans, radishes, shishito peppers, squash blossoms, mustard greens, baby carrots, cucumbers, sprouts, honey, mint, sage, basil, and black, red, and white currants. The dinner sold out the entire restaurant and was a resounding success. Uncommon Ground hosts groups from all over the world to educate about our organic rooftop farm system and urban agriculture. We have recently hosted the Singapore Restaurant Association, Green Roofs for Healthy Cities Conference, Embark, and the University of Kentucky, to name a few. In 2011, we added an organic sidewalk farm to the original Uncommon Ground outdoor cafe in Wrigleyville. It inspires staff, guests, and passers-by with its productive beauty and provides a diverse and considerable bounty for the restaurant. We are proud to have a full-time management position for our farm director, Jen Rosenthal. She oversees a year-round farm assistant as well as a team of 6 yearly interns to operate the farm in season. It is important for Uncommon Ground to share our farm with the community. We schedule tours for school and professional groups, host open house events, and provide numerous other ways for our community to connect with our farm. Uncommon Ground has been the proud recipient of numerous awards for the rooftop farm and restaurant. To find out more about us, Please visit our website at www.uncommonground.com.
Aloha, my name is Joaquin. I'm founder of Farm Roof. We're a company that specializes in the design, installation, and maintenance of organic rooftop farms. We are based in Hawaii, which a lot of people don't know is extremely dependent on imported food. In fact, we import 90% of the food that we eat every day. We have less than a 7-day supply of perishable food at any given time, which puts us extremely at risk of being cut off of our food in case of emergencies, hurricanes, or any other natural disasters. What we're trying to do is increase awareness and promote urban agriculture through planting food on wasted space atop rooftops. To give you a better understanding of what we do, we're going to take a look at the Castle Medical Center farm roof and look at the specifics of our installation and the advantages. We're standing at Castle Medical Center's farm roof. It's 1,000 square feet. This is the 4th farm roof that we've installed. The entire system is sitting on top of an existing roof that was not designed for a farm roof, which is kind of the thing that we specialize in, is repurposing existing buildings. The thing that makes the farm roof system really unique is our growing module. We actually have a patent filed on the system. What it is a self-contained growing system. It has a built-in irrigation system that pressure regulates and puts out a precise amount of water. The growing media is contained in this engineered geotextile. It's designed to allow the growing media to breathe and to freely drain. It also makes sure that it's porous enough to let water out, but also keep the growing media in. The nice thing about this modular system is everything is connected male to female with a very easy hose threaded connection and O-rings. And if we do have a problem in one of these modules, which occasionally we'll have an issue with a damping off or some other pathogen, soil pathogen issue or a disease issue in one of the modules, we could take this module out of service and it's being isolated from the rest of the farm, and we can replace it with a new module, take this old module that's diseased or has problems, compost it down, and then put it back into circulation at a later date. So what it does is it compartmentalizes all of our different growing modules so we can isolate issues as they come up on a case-by-case basis and not necessarily have to take out a huge section of the farm. Okay, so the entire system, again, is a ballasted system. It's weighted down by the growing modules and also by our border here. And what we're doing is using a compost filter sock. This particular style of compost filter sock is called a biosock. And if we pull that aside, what we see is all of our different layers. We have our roof protection membrane, which is an air gap that goes on top of the existing membrane. We have a Firestone EPDM membrane on top of that. Then we have another drainage board layer on top of the membrane. Then we have a layer of padding and our synthetic turf. So all these layers make up the farm roof system. We can engineer it to contain different layers with different weight characteristics and different water absorptions. It all depends on the goals and objectives of the project. This entire rooftop farm is fed by a 3/4 inch hose bib. When this farm is being watered, it uses approximately 2.5 gallons per minute. So it's a very low water usage system. The entire rooftop farm has a weight of 8 pounds per square foot, so it's extremely lightweight as well. Again, the system is ballasted, so at a later time, if the hospital wants to remove the farm roof, the entire thing could come off the roof. There's no roof penetrations or any other type of patchwork that would have to be done when the system's removed, and it would essentially return the roof into service in a condition that was the same as or better than if the farm wasn't installed. I brought a lot of organic farmers up to the rooftop farm up here at Castle, and they're all pretty envious about the lack of weeds. That's one of the nice things about our system. If you notice, you don't see any weeds growing, and that's because we're in a very controlled environment. We start off with a weed-free, compost-based growing media, and really don't have any issues with weeds, so it cuts down a lot of the labor. The nice thing about this system, it's very flexible. What we're doing is we're growing microgreens in the majority of the modules, and the process is we plant the seed, we top dress it, and we provide it water through the irrigation system. and then in 2 weeks' time we get to the harvest stage, which is what's happening here. We're harvesting the microgreens. These microgreens go downstairs to the cafeteria. They get processed, washed, and packaged, and then gets redistributed to the customers of the hospital through their bistro, which is their restaurant, and also it gets provided into patients' meals. Everything that we do out here on the roof is direct seeded. So we don't transplant anything. We don't start it in the seed house and then bring it out to the field. We direct seed everything, which allows for a quicker harvest time, but it also presents a set of problems, especially with the birds. So the birds here at Castle Medical Center got used to all this seed being out here and started calling their friends, and started to become a real big problem. So we had to create these PVC frames that we put bird netting over. And what we do is we germinate the seeds, keep them covered for a week, and then after a week we remove these frames and then we rotate it to the next row of crops. So the process is pretty simple. Essentially, after we harvest the greens, we pull up all the root mass, we reseed, we re-top dress, and we repeat that cycle. That's a 2-week cycle for the microgreens that we're growing here. And then after a year, we take these modules off the roof, we put it into a machine, it mixes up all the growing media, we add additional compost, additional organic ingredients, adjust the soil structure and the nutritional qualities of the soil based on our soil test, and then we repackage the modules and we bring them back up to the rooftop. We're very heavy into making sure that the soil's healthy, that keeping the life below the root zone in a happy and balanced nature. We do a lot of things that contain micronutrients. We do 70 different minerals and trace elements. We add indigenous microorganisms and essential microorganisms. We're constantly playing with different ways of boosting production and keeping the soil healthy. Because we're continually using the same growing media, like in this scenario, every 2 weeks we're replanting, and that's going to take place for a period of a year. It's real important that we keep that soil very, very healthy and disease-free. And the only way we can do that is by introducing a lot of organic ingredients into the profile as we operate the farm. One of the unique things about our system is it's scalable and reproducible, and it can all be brought up to a rooftop on pallets. So it could come up through elevators, which is what we did here at Castle Medical Center, or it could even come up stairwells piece by piece. We're trying to create a system that can be replicated around the country and across the world without the use of heavy equipment or cranes or any other type of specialized equipment. If you want to learn more about Farm Roof and what we do, visit us at www.farmroof.com. Until then, happy farming and aloha.